if the machine wasn't made out of something flammable, it probably wouldn't have burned houses down.
I'm a mile away from somebody who died to an Anet A8. The UK doesn't even insure most 3D printers at the moment.
But let's say
they are classed as advanced manufacturing tools and dangerous.
But let's say a 3D printer starts a fire and burns your house down. Now, Mullet here is bringing up a point. If they break GPL, what else are they breaking? Safety code, warranty rules. GPL is the cheapest to follow. And apparently, these cables on these machines are actually quite fragile. And they're arcing.
I was going to say, like, for that pre-warning, there will be bias in this next segment because I run a 3D printer company that does do a lot of safety testing. Nobody cares, but at the end of the day, I do run a company that is in this sector, and I'm now talking about other companies with various things.
Right.
Every printer that I have experienced on the market, except for mine, does break the law in one way or another in terms of safety codes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I'm going to list off some. For the printers that I make, I have to follow the machine directive, which requires the multimedia directive. It requires EMI, EMF, and EMC laws. It requires high voltage testing. It requires low voltage testing. It requires flammability testing. It requires general product safety testing. It then got tested under the UL standards and then a load of others. There's about 15 to 20 directives we have to follow that at the bottom of every directive says, if you do not follow this, you either have a fine and/or jail time with that. A lot of the companies that I see do not fully do these testing. And the reason for that is it's expensive. It's very expensive to do this testing. Additionally, the designers aren't lawyers.
No.
Like, I had to specifically get someone, in this case, my mother, who sat down and read every single page. There was over like 50,000 pages she had to read to then give me a bullet point list of what I need to follow for the design. It was tedious, long format work. And a lot of these companies will only certify it up to CE. And the problem with CE is it's a self-certification for the most part.
Exactly. Yeah, it's got no teeth.
Yep. And even then, legally speaking, you can sign a CE mark and not have done it, because the bit that makes CE illegal and finable is malice. You have to knowingly have skipped tests. So in an internal structure, somebody can come up to you and go, hey, we've done these tests, sign this document, and you sign it.
You had no idea they didn't do it.
You've not broken the law. You've assumed your engineer did it correctly and passed. When it comes to these cheaper machines, while they might be safe, that doesn't mean they are following safety codes or warranty rules or anything else. And I would be highly suspicious of any company that does say they've done all the testing unless they have validation to prove it. Otherwise, you're just kind of lying to yourself, because I have literally seen every product on the market now that I'm in manufacturing does not follow this to the letter. And I even sit down. I had a therapist sit down with me and I was speaking to them going, am I an idiot?
Yes.
Because I'm following the law. But that as well. They actually said yes. They even turned around and said, I am an idiot for following the letter of the law and the spirit of the law.
I've told you the same thing.
Business doesn't care about it. You should just go and make a product and make it safe enough not to kill someone.
I've told you the same thing, that every other company rolls the dice. Why be different? Right? You can certainly, give yourself a few degrees separation from the business so they can't come after your personal assets, release the product under a different LLC so that there's no liability to the manufacturing company. The same thing that American companies do. You island out your main company, then you shell it, and it becomes impenetrable without hundreds, if not millions of dollars.
Literally, for £120, I can spool up a shell company that buys my own product, makes a minor change, which is nothing, and then it becomes the shell company's product. And if anything happens, I just shut down the shell company.
So we had 93 votes, 81% said yes, 19% said no. So 19% of people, so call it 15 people, said that ignoring the GPL change does not change whether or not they're purchasing it. So, I would say that we definitely have some people in here that that are more concerned about does something work than does it follow the letter of the law. Now, it was one of the Clippy people, because the Clippy people are Louis Rossmann people, but one of them said Louis Rossmann would be the person to kind of go after them for it. Yeah, if Louis picks up this and makes a video on it, Elegoo's going to get hell for it. But we are a very small channel. We don't have Louis Rossmann levels of credibility, nor do I have Louis Rossmann levels of speech. You all think I speak fast. Go watch one of his videos where he's pissed. They're not sped up.
I watch his videos at 2 times speed as well. So.
Watch them when he's upset. They're not sped up. You can see his cat come into frame, and his cat's moving at regular speed. He just talks very quickly. Louis is, in my opinion, a champion of open source. I do believe, unfortunately, for some companies, he goes about it the wrong way. And not to say that I go about it the right way. Certainly I don't. I'm very similar to Louis. So Louis and Steve from Gamers Nexus, they are open source advocates. They do their best to hold to the letter of the law, and they call out companies when they do wrong. And, you know, Louis is at a point with his business, with his YouTube channel, where he can afford to put bounties on things. Anytime that we put bounties on things, I'm paying for it out of my pocket. Look, I've been in this industry for 17 years, okay? I've been in this industry longer than some of our fans have been alive, okay? I've seen housefires from 3D printers, okay? I've seen the Anet A8. I was around when that printer was popular, when people bought it because it was cheap. And then
I'm a mile away from somebody who died to an Anet A8.
Well, you were. You know, I don't want to see us, and the Anet A8 is the perfect example of value engineering gone wrong, right? If the machine wasn't made out of something flammable, it probably wouldn't have burned houses down, but it was.
I mean, even that is a good example of not following the law, because there are laws to stop that from happening.
And what happened to Anet?
They weren't followed.
Nothing.
I don't actually know.
Nothing.
Like, I believe they just continued on like normal.
Yep, nothing happened. And now this industry is a lot larger. And, you know, back in the day, someone getting harmed or, you know, hurt in an irreparable way by a 3D printer was not that big of a deal because, well, okay, it was a big deal, but it didn't make news because this industry was much, 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 much smaller than it is now. If someone gets injured by a 3D printer in a way that causes damage to life or property in a serious manner, insurance companies are going to rain hell upon anybody with a 3D printer in their house. I don't care what brand it is. I don't care for what reason. And those of you that have renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, your purchases aren't private anymore, guys. Nothing that you do anymore is private.
The UK doesn't even insure most 3D printers at the moment.
But let's say
like they are classed as advanced manufacturing tools and dangerous.
But let's say a 3D printer starts a fire and burns your house down. You have no
your
belongings.
Insurance will not pay it.
Yeah. Right now you might get lucky and it does, but there's, I'm sure, plenty of clauses that your insurance company could use. I don't want them to say, if you have a 3D printer and we can check your purchase logs, because there's so many data breaches. If you have a 3D printer, we're going to cancel your policy. That, I mean, you're looking, so insurance plays very much the game of being safe rather than sorry, because they make their money on being safe, right? But that means that they, you know, look, insurance companies are leaving Florida because of hurricanes, okay?
Yeah.
And it's harder and harder and harder to get insurance.
I mean, hell,
Don't
without
make this
sounding
harder.
like a shill for myself, this is why we got our machines UL tested.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are one of the only ones where if something goes wrong, which it, touch wood, theoretically isn't possible, but if it did, you can go to your insurance company and go, hey, they've already done all the fire regulation tests
It wasn't
as well as the UL tested.
Yeah.
Even if it was this machine, it will not invalidate the insurance because it was done correctly to the law and above that.
And I'm going to be careful. It could invalidate the insurance. Insurance companies suck, so it shouldn't. invalidate.
In the UK, it won't, because the UK has a flow chart that they cannot deviate from.
It should.
America, I've heard your insurance companies can play a bit fast and loose with what they do and don't decide.
Yeah.
Grant, get that picture I just sent you on Discord on your phone and show it to the chat. Because if I have to turn off the background blur, and it's just too much of a pain. But also, this forces Grant to read it, and you are going to watch his face when he actually reads it.
I don't want this. I don't want to do this. I don't
Too bad,
consent.
you're being forced.
I don't consent.
You've not said your safe word yet.
No. Oh, wait. Bamboo, right? Oh, God. 1,000 down, 100 up for 26 quid. Jeez.
Yeah, just use incognito. I know some people who refuse to use incognito because they live alone. And trust me, when I come visit your house, the very first thing I'm doing is typing in individual letters into the search bar to see what your search history comes up as the first things. It is funny.